So today I want to tell you the story about a ghost that's lived in my house for many, many years. So my house was built in the 1940s. One of the things that we've experienced very often here was a lot of times when people would come over and they'd be chatting right here at the table where I'm sitting at, they would look over to the side and they would say, "Is there someone else here with us?" I'd say, "No, nobody's here with us." And they'd say, "Well, I just saw somebody walk from there to that way." I'd say, "No, nobody's here with us," because we were all alone. We'd just be chatting. And it happened very, very, very often with many different people. One of the things that one person experienced when they were here was that when after they were sitting here chatting with me for a little while, they said, "Let me go say hi to your daughter. I'm going to go look for her." When they went to go walk over to her room and look in there, she wasn't in there, but they saw her game console that was sitting on the floor. It went sliding across the floor by itself. Nobody was in there. And they came running back terrified because they were scared. I saw something move and they just wanted to get out of my house. Nobody was in there. My daughter wasn't in there. I think she was in the yard. One of the other things that we've experienced in one of the rooms of the house is that one time when all of us were gone and it was just my son here by himself, he started hearing loud knocking on the door of his room. Now this was in the middle of the house. It's a door that's from his room into the other room that's in the back. And he said somebody was banging hard on that door, like they were knocking hard. And he was saying, "Cut it out. Stop knocking on the door hard." And he went to go look because he thought somebody had stayed and was playing a joke on him. But of course, we had all left. So when we came back home, he was kind of pale. He was like, "Nobody was here and somebody was banging really hard on the door. And nobody was here. And I thought you were tricking me." But we weren't home. So maybe like a year later, my daughter was home alone and nobody was here. And the same thing happened to her. She said that she heard the banging really hard on the door, like knocking hard. And she did the same thing. She said, "Stop playing a joke. Who's in there?" And she went to investigate and she looked and nobody was in the house, just her by herself. This is a door in the middle of the house, not the front door where you could think somebody's knocking, like, "Hello, I'm here." No. This was nobody walking around the house. We have dogs outside, so the dogs would have barked if somebody was outside. So they couldn't figure out what that noise was. So I kept thinking to myself, if it happens to me, I'm going to try really hard to figure out where is that knock coming from. So it wasn't until maybe 6 months later, it happened while my daughter and my son were here. He was on one side of the door in his room. She was on the other side of the door in her room, and they both heard that knocking really hard. And they were blaming each other. He was yelling at her, "Stop knocking really hard." She was saying, "You're doing it." And he's telling her, "No, I'm not doing it. You're doing it." And then she opened the door and she's like, "You're really not doing it?" "No, I'm not doing it." So they don't know who could be knocking on this door in the middle between the two rooms. Both sides, neither one of them saw anything. They couldn't see what it was that was banging on the door. So one night when I was here all alone, and I had already determined that I'm going to find out what this is, I heard the knocking. And I realized, oh my gosh, they're not lying. It's really loud. Somebody's really knocking really loud on that door. And I opened his room door to look, and of course nobody's in there. And I'm still and I'm listening, and bang, 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 I heard it again. Somebody's knocking on the darn door. So I ran around to the other side to go look through her room, and nothing. So I rushed to the window to look outside to see is there somebody like outside knocking on the wall? Nothing. It's just quiet outside, and the dog's asleep. So this entity was really in the house, knocking hard on the door, trying to make us aware, like it's really here in the house. And there wasn't any type of wind or anything in the house. There was no draft. There was nothing. I couldn't figure out what it was. I still have not figured out what it was to this day. What caused that knocking? So another thing that I experienced in the house was one time late at night, I had to get up and go to the restroom. And I didn't want to fully be awake because I wanted to just rush, go really quick, come back, jump into bed, fall back asleep. I wanted to keep my sleepiness. I got up and I rushed over, and then when I was coming back, this shadow popped up right in front of me in the middle of the room. And it was little. It looked like maybe the size of like a 6 or 7-year-old little girl, and it had long black hair. And it was just standing like a shadow. It just stood out in front of me. And I mean it jumped out like it wanted to stop me. But I had already determined by myself, I had predetermined I'm rushing into bed so that my sleepiness doesn't go away. And when I was rushing and she popped up in front of me, I was in momentum, like full momentum. I had no time to stop. So I just thrust my hands out and I went like this, just like, poof, like trying to brush away like a cloud of smoke, because I had no other option. I was already in motion. I couldn't stop. I couldn't like hit the brakes. So once I busted through and like past her, I jumped into bed and I covered myself with a blanket real quick, because I wanted to be in my own mind saying, nope, nope. I don't want to acknowledge that I just saw you. At the same time, I'm saying, oh, please don't kill me. Don't haunt me. Don't kill me. Don't be mad at me. And I just covered myself really quick. And I was thinking, oh, I can't believe that I just saw that. And I can't believe that I just experienced that. But it was a little girl spirit ghost, because it was just like a dark shadow that just jumped out in front of me, wanted me to stop. So that was kind of scary. What ended up happening much later, we had a few more incidents that I'll probably tell you about another time. But because of those incidents, we had determined that we wanted to get kind of like an exorcism to get rid of the spirit, have it move on and pass away and leave the house. So we had asked for some help from someone that said that they had experience with such things. So when she came over, it was two of them, a mother and a daughter. They came over and they had kind of like a walk through the house, and they kind of felt something. She hadn't told us yet what she felt. And then she went outside and she said, you know what, I feel a lot of negative energy right here, and I feel like there's more than one spirit here. One of them is very dark, and one of them's a little girl. Like, nobody told her what we had seen. Nobody had told her what we've experienced, just that they were experiencing things. And what she did was she said, let's do something just like as an experiment to see what we can see or do. So what they did was they got their phones. There was about 3 of them, and they all aimed the cameras outwards and faced their backs towards each other, and they snapped pictures all around the yard. And it was already getting dark, so they were snapping these pictures at the same time, just random pictures all over the yard, just to see if the cameras could pick up anything. And wouldn't you know it, the cameras picked up a spirit in my yard, which I'm going to show you that picture today. So the picture that you're looking at is a picture that was by the back of the house, by the windows. My security cameras would sometimes pick up little distortions, like something was walking through there. But this being that's standing there, it's not a live person. There was nobody standing there physically, nobody that we know. And different people say that they see different things. Some people have said that they see like a woman standing there. I think that it looks like a man, and that he's standing there or sitting there just looking at them while they're taking the picture. So whatever you determine to think, if you believe it or not, I just want you to be careful. If you want to stay safe, you better get superstitious. Peace.